bounded and unbounded sequence. We say that a sequence an is bounded above if there exists a real number k such that when you consider any of the terms an of the sequence, this an has an upper bound k. This upper bound k will be either equal to the general term an, or this k will be strictly greater than the general term an, which can be symbolically represented as an less than or equal to k for all n belonging to natural numbers, which means that whichever term you consider in this sequence, each and every term will have an upper bound either equal to its own value or strictly greater than its own value. Let us consider an example. When you consider the sequence xn, which equals minus 1 the whole raised to n, we have this sequence consists of terms minus 1, 1, minus 1, 1 and so on. We have this is the first term, this is the second term, this is the third term, this is the fourth term and so on. This is in fact an infinite sequence, but notice that its first term minus 1 is strictly less than 1. Its second term is equal to 1. The third term is again strictly less than 1. The fourth term, which equals 1 in value, will coincide with 1. This is the situation when you consider the remaining terms x5, x6, x7 and so on. All those terms with suffixes which are odd numbers will have minus 1 as the value, and minus 1 will be strictly less than 1. All those terms for this sequence with even numbers as the index or as the suffix, for example x2, x4, x6 and so on, will have value equal to 1 and it coincides with 1 itself. Therefore, 1 can be selected as the upper bound, which is common to all these terms of the sequence xn. 1 plays the role of upper bound for each and every term in this sequence, and we say that this sequence xn is bounded above and the upper bound will be equal to 1. Let us talk about sequences which are bounded below. Whenever we have a sequence an for which each and every term an has a lower bound which is either equal to itself or strictly greater than itself, where k is a real number and the suffix n is taken from set of all natural numbers. Symbolically, when we have the condition an greater than or equal to k, where k is a real number and an denotes any general term of this sequence an, we say that the sequence will be bounded below. For example, when you consider the same sequence xn, which equals minus 1 the whole raised to n, we have the first term x1 equals minus 1 coincides with minus 1 itself. When you consider the second term x2 equals 1, it is strictly greater than minus 1. x3 equals minus 1 coincides with minus 1. x4 equals positive 1 is strictly greater than minus 1. This will be the same situation when you consider the other terms x5, x6, x7 and so on. We have all those terms of this sequence xn whose suffixes are odd numbers will have a lower bound equals to its own value, and all those terms whose suffixes are even numbers will have value equal to 1, which is strictly greater than the lower bound minus 1. Or we have concluded that minus 1 plays the role of a lower bound to each and every term in this sequence, and hence we have this sequence is bounded below. When do we say that a sequence is a bounded sequence? A sequence, general sequence an, is said to be a bounded sequence if and only if it has both upper bound as well as lower bound. That is, it is bounded above as well as below. For example, when you consider the same sequence xn, which equals minus 1 the whole raised to n, for each and every element or for each and every term of this sequence minus 1 the whole raised to n, we have minus 1 is acting as the lower bound and positive 1 is acting as the upper bound. Therefore, this sequence, since it has both upper and lower bound, we say that this sequence is a bounded sequence. Let us consider another example, sequence an, where an is the general term which equals 1 by n. When you try to write the sequence, it has terms 1 by 1, 1 by 2, 1 by 3, 1 by 4 and so on, which means that the first term will be obtained by giving n equals 1, because n is taken from set of all natural numbers. First term a1 will be equal to 1, The second term is obtained by giving n equals 2 here, which will give us a2 the second term equals 1 by 2, a3 equals 1 by 3, a4 equals 1 by 4, a5 equals 1 by 5 and so on. Notice that for all these terms, the first term 1 is strictly greater than 0. The second term 1 by 2 is also strictly greater than 0. Third term 1 by 3 is again strictly greater than 0. This will be the situation valid for each and every term in this sequence. Since all of its terms are strictly greater than 0, we have 0 will be the lower bound for this sequence. Notice that 0 does not belong to this sequence. From this example, it's clear that lower bound of a sequence need not exist within the sequence. Now let us check whether the sequence has an upper bound. We have the first term 1 is equal to 1, the second term 1 by 2 is strictly less than 1, third term 1 by 3 is strictly less than 1, and so on. We have fourth term, fifth term, sixth term of the sequence. Sequence 1 by n will be strictly less than 1. From this observation, it's clear that 1 is the real number which is less than or equal to any of the terms of the sequence 1 by n. Therefore, the real number 1 can be considered as the upper bound for each and every element of the sequence an, which means that 1 is the upper bound for the sequence an, which equals sequence 1 by n. We had already seen that 0 is the real number which happens to be strictly less than each and every term of the sequence 1 by n. It is not compulsory that these real numbers which happens to be lower bound or upper bound must be a member of sequence. Here for this example, we have the lower bound does not belong to the sequence, but the upper bound is a member of the sequence. Since this sequence has both upper bound and lower bound, we say that this sequence is a bounded sequence.